What are some of the challenges that we experience in the organization development context? According to statistics, 2/3 of change interventions in organizations fail. Other statistics refer to 90% of failed interventions according to the opinions of top management. This is a horrendous track record, and I'm sure none of us would like to go to a physician to be treated by someone who has that sort of track record. What can biometric system theory do differently here? Our change interventions that are run through the program are sustainable because, firstly, they are grounded in a coherent theory of organization, management, and change, and because we transfer all the necessary knowledge into the organization, and we are training internal change agents who have that knowledge. And in the course of the program, the organization gets wired for ongoing change. There are generic procedures, generic structures that can be applied that allow the organization to become a systemic learning organization and that are used in that transformation. The benefits are that the organization can manage its own intervention, become independent of external consultants, and be responsible for its own development. Another challenge is that there's a plethora of change interventions in many organizations. Often they are based on different management models, concepts, approaches, and tools, many of them being incompatible. I was recently in an organization giving some systems courses and found out that there were 60 different change interventions happening in that particular organization. Some of them very big, most of them driven by different departments, not coordinated with each other, and some of the interventions were not even known to some of the others. And there were a large number of different external consultants involved in them, all of them uncoordinated. What can we do? Biometric system theory is an overarching theory and provides an overarching methodology within which all change interventions can be contextualized. Different change interventions make very useful contributions, but often they're taken out of context or expected to deliver more, and then they become a problem. If they're contextualized within the overarching biometrics frameworks, then their contribution can be very useful. And another problem is that many of those interventions are contradicting each other, if not in praxis, then very often in language and in their theoretical approaches. And here again, the biometrics system theory methodology can assist in integrating them, providing a shared language, providing a framework for integrating them. So the benefit of that is that existing change interventions can be integrated coherently and delivered as one within an organization, and managed. The delivery can be managed internally. Another challenge is a change wariness in organizations, because there have been so many different organizational change interventions happening in the last 10 or 20 years. There was a lot of experimentation going on in organizations where one flavor of the month intervention replaced another one, and people are reeling from these continuous organizational change interventions. What we can do here is that through our biometrics program, staff participates in creating a stable organization that is wired for ongoing change. So there will not be the necessity for continuously changing the organization in response to any perceived change. And the benefit of that is that the pressure of continued organizational change is eliminated. Another related issue is that there's change weariness, not only because there have been so many change interventions happening, but because there's ongoing and accelerating change in the environment, which puts pressure on staff. This kind of change cannot be eliminated. That has to be dealt with in an ongoing way. And that is exactly what our contribution of wiring the organization for ongoing change is about. We are making it possible to have a stable organization that doesn't need to be continuously changed, but that allows, nevertheless, the members of the organization to deal with ongoing change in a creative and appropriate manner, and also to learn from the change. So the transformed organization entrenches dealing with ongoing change and learning, and the staff learns to deal with ongoing change. And the benefits are that the organization is capable of anticipating and responding to change appropriately, timeously, and in a learning manner. And the other benefit is that it creates a creative and innovative organization. Another challenge is that there's often a lack of stakeholder involvement and cooperation. The Biomatrix program provides a theory and methodology for systemic stakeholder management. It is also a theory and methodology for leadership, which has to do with managing outward, managing stakeholders.
Also, the program involves stakeholders in all phases. This creates the benefit that stakeholders get aligned, that they understand how cooperating with each other creates benefits for all in a win-win manner, and how this makes the organization more synergistic, more effective, as well as more efficient. It also makes the organizational culture more stakeholder-focused. Another universal organizational challenge is the management culture of optimizing parts rather than wholes. This was the predominant paradigm of the industrial age, and it is still perpetuated by management education, which focuses on functional specialization and functional excellence. The systemic problem that arises from optimizing the parts is that the whole, like an organization as a whole, gets sub-optimized. In other words, the organization is less effective, less efficient, and ultimately less profitable than it could be if its functions were balanced and operating in the interest of the larger whole, rather than merely from the perspective of functional excellence. In response to this, the Organization Transformation Program provides a theory and methodology for integrative and holistic management, and also demonstrates the application of this in the course of the program delivery. Benefit that participants gain is learning about integrative management and also experiencing how it operates in praxis. This completes and complements other management education they may have had, such as an MBA, for example. This knowledge will advance their own careers, like fast-tracking them to senior management positions, besides earning them a certificate in systemic organization transformation. The benefit for the organization is that it gains a critical number of systemic change managers who can drive the transformation of the organization into a systemic learning organization and also maintain its functioning as such.